Welcome to The Attic Ghost. I'm your host, Kathy Finfrock. Our guest today is Clara Bush. She is the science fiction author of the Creep Mystique anthology, and she is also a blogger about the paranormal and the weird. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you so much for inviting me to interview with you today. I really appreciate it.
Your bio says that you lived in not one, but two haunted houses growing up. And this is what inspired your passion for writing about monsters and ghosts and aliens and things that go bump in the night. Can you tell me something about these homes and what it was like growing up there?
Okay, my haunted houses, yes, they have been a big part of my life. And I was one of those kids in a family where I didn't quite belong, to the point that my mom and dad and brothers all asked, are you sure you didn't pick up the wrong kid in the hospital? Of course, they never saw any of the hauntings. They saw some of the weird results, but they never had the sensitivity that I did toward the supernatural that was going on around us. The first haunted house, and actually I've lived in 4 haunted houses, and the house that I'm living in now is haunted. We've just discovered. The first haunted house was the Hellhound house, and I call it that because the old couple that lived there who were killed, they killed each other for some reason. I mean, we can kind of theorize exactly what took place there, but they kept dogs up in the top of their barn. And when my parents went to clean it out, they found human bones, remains of other animals, of course, all the urine and feces from the dogs. When the couple was found dead, I guess the authorities let the dogs out, and these hounds just roamed around in the pastures everywhere and would terrorize. We had sheep, and they would get the ewes that were going to have lambs soon and rip them open. My parents, in an effort to protect them, built a pen and kept them in there. I had a little lamb named Lampkin that we put in there, and one night I heard the sheep, and I'm creeping down the stairs. There's a landing, and there's a door to an attic there that things were always popping out of, like possums, raccoons, you name it. It was real creepy. You'd find it open, even though my dad had latched it and double latched it and all those kind of things. Well, this night I heard the sheep bleeding. I walked downstairs, and just as I passed the door, something reached out and grabbed me, and I tumbled down the stairs. Of course, my parents came running, and they just thought I had stumbled, and the whack on my head caused me to think something had grabbed me. But my lamb was missing, and some of the other sheep had been killed. And there was no way in. I mean, nothing was tampered with. It wasn't like the dogs had gotten in there. There was no way for the dogs to get in. So it was very unexplainable about what did happen to them.
How did your parents explain that?
You know, when I would say, oh, it's the ghost, they would say, there's no such things as ghosts. You know, things like that just don't exist. In that same house, one night, I'm sound asleep, and I wake up and see these 2 green eyes staring at me. So, you know, I'm scared. I was always a creepy kid, so my parents always had to put a bed in my brother's rooms. And I call out, Mom, I'm scared. And she says, what's wrong? And I said, there's these 2 green eyes staring at me. And of course, my older brother liked to terrorize me. And he pops up in bed and plays like he has a machine gun and goes, you know, anyway, my dad comes and gets me, and I'm safe for the night. But years later, when I was going to be going off to college, my younger brother and I had a discussion, kind of where you tell each other things that you kept secret for years, like, I don't know, putting saran wrap on the toilet, stuff like that. And he said, you know, that night you saw the green eyes? And I said, yeah. He said, I saw them too, and they were staring at you. I didn't want to say anything because our older brother was acting the way he did.
Oh.
So I had evidence that it had taken place. And as we progressed in our houses, we went from the Hellhound house to the old house, which was haunted. And the second house was the repossessed house, which was a new house they built in front of the old house. And in the middle of the night, I could tell when the ghost from the old house repossessed the new house. All the cabinets in the kitchen opened and shut at once. The door that was going out of the utility room outside, it was standing wide open and it had been deadbolted. The smell of lemons filled my room. All this unexplainable stuff. And the next morning we get a phone call from the people that had bought the old house. It was a young couple and they had just moved it off the night before. She calls and says, I just wanted you to know that house burnt to the ground for no reason. And it was at the exact same time that the cabinets all opened and shut. So wow. A lot of spooky evidence that apparently I have a sensitivity toward that. Apparently I'm someone that they can connect with or reach out to. I've never felt harmed by them. I don't think they've hurt me any way other than I don't think the spirit at the Hellhound house was a good spirit. I think it was, I think it could have been dangerous. Gladly, we only lived there for about a year.
So how did this affect you as a child? Did you tell your friends about it?
When I saw how my brother reacted to it, my parents, I pretty much kept it to myself, and I was that weird kid in school, in high school, very withdrawn, not many friends at all. So it did affect me, but I think I'm glad it did. I think it led me down a path and led me to where I am now. So I would say to all young people, you know, it's believe in yourself, believe what your intuition tells you, believe what you know deep down to be true, even though there are those people out there that say, no way, you're weird, you're a freak. Embrace, I guess what I'm saying, I finally embraced the fact that I was a freak. And at that point on, it didn't matter. I didn't need to impress anybody. I didn't need to be someone that I wasn't.
And so is this what led you to your writing?
Definitely what led me to my writing, but also I was not a good student. In fact, I was pretty dumb. I'm slightly dyslexic. I'm a very extremely slow reader. All these things contributed to not doing very well in school. The only thing I was good at in the 5th grade, I had been drugged by a cow. We got into a new school, didn't know anybody. My jaw was broken in 3 places. I had it wired shut and had a terrible teacher. Now, she was the one that convinced me I needed to go into teaching because nobody should have a teacher like her. Even she made fun of me. So that was really hard. She gave us an assignment to write a story, and I wrote a story about of all things, a dog getting run over and coming back to life. And when I got up and read it, the kids all liked it, and that was the first time I was kind of accepted at that school.
I love writing. It does that. I'm going like, I want to read that story. I've always been drawn to that kind of horror story. It just, you know, in my own writing, it's like I tried to write romance. I tried to write a children's novel, and it's just like, no, it always goes to that other end. It just, it has to have that thrill.
That's what I was so surprised when I read your novel, which I love, by the way. I just knew it was going to be about ghosts. So I won't say any more because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, because I love the novel, but I really thought it was going to be about ghosts.
It is. It's just, I think, you know, well, it's not about me. No, so sorry. Anyways, Okay, but anyway, so and now you have
I'll
written.
save that to our interview I do with you. How's that?
Okay. Anyway, so now you've written 4 novels that you have published. The Creep Mystique, um, and you are now writing a young adult novel for TOK, The Other Kind, that's due out by Christmas. Can you tell us what we can expect from that story?
It's about a 15-year-old girl that wakes up one day and finds out that she's been genetically engineered to be a killer. Um, all of a sudden, her peaceful, protective life, she finds out, are all lies. So she has to deal with that as a young person, and how she's going to manage this new news that one of the whole reasons she's here is to help protect the few remaining humans that are on Earth. It was a dream that I had from start to finish. It was the thing that really got me to kick myself in the rear and get going and get it down on paper.
Okay. What were some of the hardest challenges you faced in bringing the story to life?
I think the hardest challenge is the challenge all writers have, and that's the time factor. Everybody's busy. I have a lot of really young friends on Twitter and Facebook, and they're writers, and they keep down full-time jobs and families, and I don't know how they do it, you know. So it's the time factors, having the time to get down all those ideas that you have in your head on paper in the best form that it can possibly be.
Which did you find, which did you enjoy writing more, the young adult or the adult novels?
Since I taught young people for so many years, high school, everything from 6th grade to past 12th grade, I taught dropout recovery. I have such a wealth of information of how kids interact with each other, how young adults, what their thoughts, feelings, those type of. So I have a large bank to draw on for my characters for that. So that's very, very helpful. But I love romance, and I have to be very careful with my young adult novels that I don't get carried away with the romance in it, because it's young people, you know, they don't need to know all those. So I loved writing my novellas where I could do a lot of that adult romance in it. I really can't pick. I recently was asked to collaborate on an erotica, so I'm doing that, and I'm loving that as well. It's I love it all. Just let me write. Just give me 24 hours a day nonstop to write, and I'm in heaven.
With your novels, The Creep Mystique, those are adult novels.
Correct.
But are the characters in that story young adult, or are they adults?
The first one starts with kids. They're 5 and 7 years old, and the two main characters meet up at that point and go through life together basically until they're about 22 years old. So it's from kids all the way till adults. The last novella that's out, Better Dig 2, it's an adult and one of her students. So it's a variety of ages, I guess you would say.
Okay, because the reason why I brought it up is because when I saw the book covers, and obviously I haven't read the books yet, they reminded me of young adult because of your book covers. So, but that's because that's who the kids are. So it's basically you have kids dealing with adult matters.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, all right. And you also have your blog on the paranormal and the weird. And I caught your October 6th blog entry on zombies. And can you catch zombieism? Can you catch zombieism by sitting on the toilet? Which I found just that statement alone hysterical. So my question for you is, how do you balance humor with the seriousness?
I think we have to laugh in life, and I don't think there's enough laughter. So I'm not a humorous person. My mother was Australian. I kind of have that Aussie humor, if you know what I mean, where it's that very dry, pan-faced kind of humor. so I really have to work at it. But I love reading a story that has humor in it. One of my favorites, Mark Twain, one of my favorite authors in that type of humor. So I try to study it. I work at it. Um, if I had a choice between a hunky guy and a humorous guy, I'm going to go for the humorous guy because he can make my soul laugh. He can bring joy into my life. So, and I think we just need more of that. So I'm trying to bring that humor in, and a lot of people that read it comment that they do like having that in there. So we'll continue to strive for more.
Do you have any advice for other writers?
My main advice would be not to listen to anybody else. Whatever they tell you, listen to your heart, listen to yourself. Don't expect these people to be all supportive of what you're doing and want to read your books. That's probably not going to happen. If you do have friends that say, oh yeah, let me read it, be grateful for them. But basically it falls on you. You have to believe in yourself, in your writing. You have to want to perfect your craft and keep studying every minute that you can spare to study it. Don't listen to your parents. Your parents love you. They want you to be safe. So they'll encourage you to get a job that actually pays, which isn't writing. But you'll know if you're a writer. If you're a writer, you won't want to do anything else but write. And listen to that. Believe in yourself.
Yes.
And go forward.
And you had mentioned once before too that it's not necessarily your friends who are going to read your book, but you would be surprised at who reads your books.
Exactly.
And that is very true. It is amazing to get that feedback from a complete and total stranger going like, I loved your book. And you're like, oh my God. It's what makes it all worth. Well, at least.
Yeah, it's not going to be the people that you expect, but it'll be those people that you will be so surprised that they read your book and liked it. That will make it all worthwhile.
Is there anything that you would like to say to your readers?
I want to thank them from the very bottom of my heart. Without you, I could not do this. And I appreciate your support, your comments, everything that you give to me that keeps me going, that keeps my writer soul intact. I want to thank my muse, who I call the Hawk, who is my main life support. And I love everybody, and thank you so much.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Young people, believe in yourself, and if you want to be a writer, start now. Read, study the craft.
Thank you, Claire, so much for joining us. I had a great time. I hope you did too.
Oh, I had so much fun, and I appreciate you making it so easy for me. I was scared to do this. I have to admit, I was virtually terrorized and freaked out about it. And I know my family will get a tremendous amount of laughter from it. So thanks.
You are more than welcome. I knew it was going to be fun just knowing who you were. It was great. Okay, thank you so much again. Please check out Claire's books, the Creep Mystique anthologies. You can find them at Amazon. The links will be listed below. Thank you for watching.